Welcome to the Lightspeed Investing Podcast. I'm so excited to have Mr. Charles Williamson here with us today as we are going to talk about his perspective from being a fellow business owner and why he decided to join our group and what it has meant for him and his lifestyle journey. Charles, how are you doing, man?
I'm great, Phil. Thanks for having me.
So super excited to get together with you. I know you've been working with us for a while now. Why don't you go ahead and give the audience a little introduction of what is it that you do up in Central New York, and from the perspective of a fellow business owner and advocate of trading, right? Like, what is it that compelled you to look into trading the futures and commodity financial markets a bit closer?
I am a small business owner. I have been self-employed pretty much my whole adult life. Currently, I'm in the beer business. I've been in the beer business for better part of 30 years, one form or another. But I actively operate a small craft brewery in Central New York. We are in a rural area of Central New York, pretty much the center of the state, so it's farm country. I decided to move up here from New York City back in 2003, and just wanted a kind of a lifestyle change and wanted a bit of a lifestyle career as well. I've always had an interest in finance and trading. Even as a teenager, I was kind of engaged in one form or another. But always had a business acumen. I always just kind of wanted to be self-employed and focused on things that kind of were available to me. And trading wasn't so readily available at the time for me. I mean, we're talking about the late 80s and early 90s. But through the years, I've always engaged it in one form or another, either through long-term passive investing. And then I really just decided I wanted to get a little more progressive and proactive. And I had taken a few courses over several years and engaged the markets, and always had the idea of bridging the two. So being self-employed and saying, how can I develop another source of income
Mm.
without starting another business? I mean, being in business is fine. I enjoy it. Operating a business and engaging in people, both the people you employ, the people that you, communicate with, your customers and stuff. But how can you generate more income without starting another business if you're self-employed? And I've always kind of thought of trading as potential for that. Um, so through the years, I engaged more of a day trading format because I had the time, because I could be available during daytime markets. I engaged a few different teachers and systems, and they worked, and I had some success. And just there was never really a real feeling and fit for me. These were basically S&P stock markets, and trading, common stocks. Then you would watch, some days nothing would happen. Some days there'd be a lot of excitement. And if you didn't trade every day, you could kind of risk missing some moves and waiting a whole nother week. And so that kind of got a little dragged out for me. And
I
I
see.
decided to step back and maybe, think about what I was trying to do. And I had the opportunity to meet you and meet some of your, some of the people in your organization. And once I understood what you guys were doing in trading and realized, the access to a whole different market that I really was never introduced to before because nobody mentioned it. I kind of, you hear it on Bloomberg, the futures markets are up or down, and but you don't really understand what that means unless you've engaged that market. So
Yeah.
once I met you guys and really got introduced to that, it really opened up a whole new set of possibilities. It allowed me to really think about how I can generate income and how I can look at my business, and and really open up the possibility of not having to invest so much time, so much revenue, so much resources into a business, and start to really transform my my abilities through trading. And then I could turn around and look at my business more as a passive lifestyle experience, where if the business can kind of run itself and make some money, it doesn't have to be my primary income. And that's really what kind of captured me and really started taking it home for me. And once I saw some of your guys' material and realized really the simplicity and the common sense of it all, It just that was it for me. I mean, I just went full on, full for it.
Love it, love it. Thanks so much for that background info. I didn't know, that you had traded the stocks to that extent, but it sounds to me like it's the high frequency, right? The volatility and the movements that you get access to within the futures and commodity financial markets that excite you more so than what you were doing before. Because you had mentioned having to wait, in the period of weeks, right? And just not knowing if there's going to even be any movement. But here you can see it every day, right?
Oh, every day you get something. I would say at my experience now, you talk about three different types of markets. Obviously, you have an up market, a down market, and a sideways market. But there's always a movement. And there's some days where, maybe the range was, 100 points or 150 points, but you could have traded up and down all afternoon and walked away with, a bag full of profits, and the market didn't go anywhere. You listen to the end of the day news reports and they're like, oh, the market, basically was flat today, or, the market was up 0.1%. But if you were engaged in that the afternoon and you saw what these traders were doing all afternoon, I mean, it's like, it's a rodeo. It's pretty wild. I mean, it's action all day long. I mean, there's very few days where it's quiet, in the sense of what futures markets get quiet. But some days are just explosive,
Well,
and you
and
get
just so the listeners or have more clarity, what we're talking about, right, is traditionally speaking with stocks, you usually hold those things a lot longer, like overnight, or
right,
over several
right.
days. So what we do, right, is we specifically trade the oscillations, and
Yep.
that's what allows us to have lucrative days, depending or independent on the direction of the markets, right?
Right. So whether the market is up or down is completely irrelevant. You just want movement, and you're in. I mean, you trade. I mean, some days I trade for a half an hour. Some days I might, if I just feel like sitting around all afternoon, I might trade for a few hours. But you could make 3 or 5 trades and be done. You could make 20 trades that day and really, you know, decide what you want to do. You can have a busy work schedule and just decide to trade for a half an hour, and then go and do the rest of your day. But
Right.
yeah, this is like you're saying, the high frequency trading. This is in and out in minutes. This is you know, you could literally take a trade in 30 seconds. You could take a trade over 3 or 5 minutes if there's a wonderful trend going in any one direction. I mean, you can hang out for an hour and a half and just watch the profits rack up, and you just wait until you
Right.
want to get out, and then you just get out. But yeah, that's it's engaging, and it's not time consuming.
So, for you, obviously, everyone has different goals and visions, right? And you are looking to build a lifestyle, business, so to speak,
Right.
right? And so maybe there are some other people who would utilize this to supplement the growth of your business and accelerate
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what your trajectory is. The idea is you could leverage this as an additional revenue stream, right? An income stream that's based on an active skill set, and when
Yep.
it's based on an active skill set, no one can take that away from you, right?
That's right. Yep.
So, what do you have to say to fellow business owners in regards to like your own experience, right? Whether they want to use it for, explosive growth or the
Yep.
steady gains. But what is your own
Yeah.
experience?
Well, one thing that always comes to my mind is, if you're a business and you want to expand a little bit, maybe you want to build a marketing budget, maybe you want to, do some renovations, maybe you want to do an addition, or hire a new employee. You can come into the futures market with that skill set and trade a few days a week, generate enough revenue where you can quantify, putting that into reinvesting in your business and never stressing the cash flow of your business to do that. And that you can do passively. I mean, it's not like you need to spend 5 days a week all day long being a trader and then try and hope you can run your business. You could literally take a half an hour out of your day in your office, log into your trading account, take a look at the market, apply that skill set and say, is there a qualified trade here that I could take? I have a half an hour, 40 minutes to wait to see where this market's going. You could literally take 1 or 2 trades and, capitalize something in your business for the next month. I mean, once you get that skill set, it's whatever it is like. So as an entrepreneur, whatever you're doing in your business successfully, you think it's easy. that's what you do. Like me, what I do when I just was working this afternoon, I mean, or this morning, like what I did was very routine. Not a lot of people are going to do that. I mean, I did it. I woke up, I did it. I was doing three other things. I wasn't even thinking much about it, and I did it and it was done. That's what this trading process is designed to do. That's the way you guys teach it. That's what it's designed to do. Is as soon as you look at that market, as soon as you see what's going on, you're going to come to a conclusion. You're going to say there's a likelihood this is going to happen if that happens. And once you start seeing it unfold and you see that pattern develop, you go for it, you take the shot. If it didn't work, you take a very small loss. I mean, you measure the loss. You could take a $5 loss, you could take a $50 loss, you could take a $100 loss. It just depends on whatever your risk threshold is. But
Right.
if you get that trade right, you can 5x, 10x, 100x that risk threshold,
Right.
and that's sometimes literally 3 minutes, or it could be up to a half an hour. I bet.
Now, for the people listening, right, what they may hear is, okay, I don't really know what the futures and commodity financial markets is. I hear that there's a lot of volatility and risk.
Right.
And also, doesn't it take quite a bit to get into the markets? What do you have to say to those people making these?
Right. So as far as risk goes, risk is always a factor of what you're willing to put on the table. So if you think about playing a poker game, if you go to a poker game and you say, okay, I'm going to play cards, but I only have $100 that I'm going to risk. That's it. You're going to risk $100. If you didn't play good poker, you walk away less $100. So when it comes to trading, trading isn't an all or nothing thing. Trading isn't you go to the market and you have money in an account, and if you lose, you're coming away with zero or less than zero, where you
Mm,
might even have this debt to pay afterwards because you didn't know what you were doing, you made a mistake. That's a fallacy. That's that's a fear factor of somebody not wanting to understand what the process is about. As far as how much money do you need, again, it just depends on what you're looking to gain from it. But I mean, you could literally have $1,000 in an account and risk $100, and if you lost, it would take you 10 days in a row to lose. If you were losing 10 days in a row, there's something wrong. I mean, you're not applying the material, or you just haven't
yeah.
been
So
properly.
you're hammering on the importance of also your accuracy, right? And strike rate. So what would you have to say, in that specific regards when you talk about your previous engagement with other groups versus, how you see us operate and approach the markets? What do you feel like is the biggest difference there?
Right. So I've engaged several different systems. I mean, the system you guys have is designed to be pinpoint accurate. I mean, it has very specific points to reference. There are specific factors that you have to kind of go through, account for before you would even take a trade. A lot of this stuff starts to become unconscious competence, where
Mm,
you're just looking at it and you're engaged in it and you just know. But as you learn the system, these things are there. All these very specific points to reference are there. Specific patterns, specific factors when it comes to points of reference on the chart, numbers, etc., like that. These are all parts of the education that once you engage it, once you've taken it in and applied it, sim trading is obviously something that's, if nobody's ever traded before, that's something that you have to understand. Is you trade basically on a demo account, and you apply that experience that you've learned to develop that skill. So for a while, you trade with, basically it's a game. You trade with an allotment of money that you decide. You can put $100,000 in your account and say, I'm going to trade, and see how many times I win and how many times I lose. And over time, when you apply that skill set and you win enough, you say it's time to go to a live account.
absolutely. That's exactly how we teach. You want to make sure you have more successful surgeries than non-successful surgeries on a mannequin patient first and foremost before you ever transition live, right? As a medical analogy that I always use. So Charles, thank you so much for your time here today. For you, do you have any concluding remarks, advice, comments, the audience listening?
I mean, to me, if you have any interest in understanding what the markets have to offer, I know you guys do some, free um, um, invites for people to kind of watch what some of these classes are. I mean, I'm engaged in 4 times a week. I engage in the evening classes twice a week, and the morning actual live trading twice a week. And I know you guys offer that out to any potential new clients of yours. So I would say if you have that offer, take it, look at it, watch it, just see what it's about. It really, when I did it, I did that for the first week, and I had traded it before, but I never really understood that those markets were there and available, and it opened up a whole new, possibility to me. And then
Yeah,
I would
and
also
speaking
say
of which,
just,
by the way, Charles, what are you doing now? Are you trading mainly in the mornings? Because we also teach trading in the afternoons with the Federal Report. So,
yeah,
for the
I mean,
audience,
it just kind of also depends on my schedule.
uh,
Generally, I'm focused on doing this full time now, so I've kind of
okay.
transitioned from my business. I do operate my business regularly as well, but it is a seasonal business now. So, so generally, I trade in the morning. I mean, I start the morning off, and depending on what I'm doing, what's going on, if I decide that I'm going to trade all day, I usually take a little break and get back into the market in the afternoon. Yeah, if there's reports in the morning, usually once a week, there's a pretty good report you can trade. That'll be earlier in the morning, but for me, it's a full-time endeavor. If the market's open, I'm engaged,
But
and I'm
more
doing.
importantly, it sounds like you are, ever since you have engaged in this style of investing, you are closer and closer to that lifestyle business that you have envisioned
Oh
ever
yeah.
since we first met, right?
Yeah, it's really it's I mean now a lot of my future planning is it all revolves around, what level of success I can have with trading. Even what I plan on doing with my business as time goes on, it's the revenue that I expect to generate from trading, I can roll back into my business and create even more of a depth of lifestyle that I want through
Oh,
that.
and by the way, this is super important, right? From the standpoint of a business owner, what is the main difference between the overhead in this game versus running a traditional brick and mortar?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, my particular business is tremendous overhead. I mean, it's a lot. This is nothing. I mean, it's basically the cost of an internet connection, which essentially I have anyway for my business. And then, I mean, the computers. If you don't have a computer that's up to par, a computer. Other than that,
Your electricity bill, maybe, right? And the brokerage.
yeah, this really the overhead is inconsequential. I mean,
Right.
you pretty much have it already.
Yep.
Your standard lifestyle already dictates that you have those things already. So
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm so glad to hear that you're making strides. I think it's been about a year now since we met in person, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, it
But
was around this time
but
last year.
really, really happy to hear, the people who decide to take that leap of faith, and are actually making progress towards their financial goals and lifestyle goals. So kudos to you, man. Uh, many blessings to you and your trading journey. And, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. And let me tell you, I'm the day I met you guys was a life changer for me. So I was very appreciative of that. So
Well, hey,
uh,
I appreciate you for taking that leap of faith and, keep it up, man. We got a lot of big things coming.
all right, Philip, thank you.
Yep. All right. Thanks.
Take care.